Hello and welcome to Granada Reports, live with the latest across the Northwest.
Hello, thanks for joining us on the programme this evening.
They will get the best of care. The Northwest hospitals treating some of the most vulnerable refugees from the war in Ukraine, children with cancer.
These children and their parents are extremely tired, and they've came from a war zone, so extremely anxious, tired, but extremely grateful for the input that they're receiving.
The threat to our lives which refuses to go away. COVID's back. We ask a public health expert why there's been a big spike in rates across our region.
And it's in, and the crowd go wild.
We're going to the movies, telling the story of the crane operator from Cumbria who conned his way into golf's top tournament.
He's got us all smiling how Liverpool's bus stop dancer is spreading the joy. What's made you happy today? Let us know.
And that sun's been trying to make an appearance all day today. It'll stand more of a chance over the next few days or so. The weather forecast is coming up.
So do stay with us. But first tonight, they are among the most vulnerable victims of the war in Ukraine. And doctors here in the Northwest have promised them the very best of care.
21 children with cancer have arrived in the UK from Poland. Several of them are now being cared for at the Royal Manchester Children's Hospital and at Alder Hey in Liverpool.
The hospital staff say they felt moved to help, and a number of businesses are continuing to offer their support to families forced to flee.
As our correspondent Elaine Wilcox reports, there are calls for those offers of help to be extended to other nationalities too.
They are the most innocent of war. 21 children with cancer have now been flown out for care in the UK. Several are being looked after at Manchester's Children's Hospital and Alder Hey.
These children and their parents are extremely tired, and they've came from a war zone, so extremely anxious, tired, but extremely grateful for the input that they're receiving. And we're proud to be a part of this.
A feeling of helplessness has prompted people here to join over 120,000, registering to host Ukrainian refugees, including a hotel in Blackpool.
It was just to say, look, we're here. So if you need us, we're here to try and support. We can try and do what we can. And I think, as a socially responsible company, it's something that we should be doing, really.
Here in Boothman Park in Pendle, they provided log cabins to those fleeing Syria, Lebanon and Iran in the past, and say a range of support is vital.
You've got the lounge, and if we walk this way, we have the double bedroom, and then we have 4 bunk beds. This is the shower and toilet that we have here.
There's ample space here for a family.
We can get a family of 6 in.
This is your business, so you're going to lose out on 3 cabin lodges.
It's a small price to pay to actually bring people in. Hopefully they're going to be able to return to their own country at some stage.
There is concern about exploitation.
They're all concerned, the police are obviously concerned, because a mass amount of people come in. It's how to look after them.
The lodge owners have worked alongside the council and Pendle neighbours, supporting a number of nationalities fleeing war.
I think it's an amazing thing that people are opening their doors, and to see humanity at that level is brilliant. But where was this humanity when the Syrians were coming in, when all the other refugees were coming in? Did humanity not matter then? Did these people not matter then?
So if the Ukrainian scheme is oversubscribed, would you like to see people taking in Afghani refugees still stuck in hotels?
Absolutely, I think that should happen. If you're willing to take the Ukrainians, then why not the Afghani refugees? It doesn't make any sense. You're saying it's on a caring level, on a human level, so let's take them in. If it's oversubscribed and we've got the spaces, let's take the ones out of the hotels and start giving them a taste of what life in England is like.
People who come to Britain to make it their home, no matter where they're from or the colour of their skin, make a hugely positive contribution to our society and economy. How can the government now justify not extending the same welcome and the same rights, including the right to work, to all people seeking asylum in Britain?
As ministers debate the best way to help, people queuing for bread are the latest casualties in Ukraine. Elaine Wilcox, ITV News.
And some news for you about ITV getting involved in the campaign to support Ukraine. We are helping bring together a concert for Ukraine featuring some of the biggest names in music with the hope of raising money for the Disasters Emergency Commission.
The concert will be at Birmingham NEC on Tuesday the 29th of March and will also be broadcast on ITV and streamed on our ITV hub. Those tickets will go on sale soon.
And you can also catch up with the coverage from our team who went to Poland on our website, the usual address, itv.com/Granada.
Yeah, always well worth a visit. Now, I don't want to tell you this, but COVID is back. There's been a big rise in cases in our region after virtually all the restrictions were lifted last month.
Yeah, the latest figures we have are for the week up to last Wednesday, and they show that the virus hasn't gone away.
In Cheshire West and Chester, there were more than 1,800 new cases. That's 541 infections per 100,000.
In Cheshire East, a similar story, more than 1,800 cases and a rate of 470 infections per 100,000.
In Liverpool, there were more than 2,300 new infections.
In Greater Manchester, Stockport and Trafford have more than 1,000 new cases and rates of over 400 per 100,000.
Now, those are the kind of infection rates that were depressingly familiar last year, but ones which we had all hoped we'd left behind. We spoke to Professor Kate Arden, the Director of Public Health for Greater Manchester, and began by asking her, should we be worried?
I think we should be worried because what we're seeing is an impact from the lifting of restrictions. We're just over an incubation period away from that having happened. And we're seeing much more social mixing. And I guess people do have the message that COVID is over when in fact it isn't. So perhaps being rather less compliant with the hands, face, space ventilation message. So we are seeing rates rising. And yes, that is worrying to me and to the other directors of public health in the North West.
There are reports now for new variants. What can you tell us about it? And does its emergence help to explain the rise in cases?
It's certainly one of the factors. The new subvariant is called BA2, and it's a son or daughter of Omicron, so it's part of the Omicron variant. It seems to be a lot more transmissible. So again, those measures, those really important public health measures, which protect us from transmitting to others, is really important with this. It's really easy to catch and transmit to other people.
I hear what you're saying. I suppose that is the case, isn't it? That we think because we're vaccinated, we're okay.
Yes, and unfortunately we're not, Lucy, because the vaccine is really good at protecting us against the serious consequences of COVID infection. So it reduces, and we've seen quite dramatic reductions in the numbers of admissions following the introduction of the vaccination programme. But unfortunately, what it doesn't do is stop us being able to be infected with COVID. So it's very important that we remember that the measures actually help to reduce transmission. The vaccine doesn't necessarily do so.
So how do you feel when you see people not wearing face masks on public transport and in shops?
I feel quite concerned about this because it's so easy. It's an aerosol transmitted infection. It's so easy through a cough or a sneeze or breathing on somebody in close proximity, if you're in close proximity for some time, to pass on COVID. Particularly, I think it's important to remember that 40% of COVID transmission actually happens when people are asymptomatic. So within the 48 hours before symptoms emerge. So you can quite easily infect somebody else, before you realise yourself that you have COVID infection. That's why hands, face, space and ventilation, particularly in enclosed public spaces, particularly on public transport when people are crammed in together, is really important.
There are many people who are in vulnerable groups who will be concerned this evening about this rise in cases. What would your message to them be?
Well, my message would obviously be to, if you are part of the group who are going to be offered the extra booster vaccination from the 21st of March. Please please get your additional booster. And I know that this group of citizens are particularly good at the hands, face ventilation. It's the rest of us who are not clinically vulnerable who need to be respectful and kind to others, because you never know who you are next to, in the queue in the shop, on public transport. So hands, face, space, ventilation, and respecting, being respectful and kind to other people is really important.
Kate, many thanks indeed for your expertise, and really do appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
In other news today, and one of the killers of Sophie Lancaster, who was attacked in a park along with her boyfriends because they were dressed as goths, is set to be freed from jail. 20-year-old Sophie died from her injuries after being assaulted in a park in Bacup in 2007. The parole board has now decided one of those convicted of murder, Ryan Herbert, can be released on licence. He was 16 when he was sentenced to life. 2 years ago, a judge said he'd made exceptional progress in jail.
A woman has been charged with murder after a man was found stabbed in Liverpool. Police were called to Rock Grove in Old Swan on Monday night. The 39-year-old man died at the scene. Liana Chang, who's 25 and from Rock Grove, has appeared in court.
The celebrated author, poet and broadcaster Lem Cisse has been awarded the OBE. Lem, who grew up in the care system in Wigan, was presented with a medal by the Prince of Wales at Windsor Castle. It's in recognition for his services to literature and charity.
Yeah, well, congratulations to him, a great friend of this programme. Very pleased for him.
Next this evening, it is a divisive issue, the continued calls for some form of assisted dying to be made legal.
It's being discussed in the House of Lords tonight as part of the proposed Health and Social Care Bill. An amendment has been suggested allowing for assisted dying, but it has little chance of becoming law.
It is a tough subject to discuss, but Dave Carolyn says he wishes his mum could have had the choice about how she died. He spoke to our reporter, Tasha Kachuri.
My mum was a lovely woman. She was just a very, very strong but also caring woman.
Dave's mum, Julie, died from cancer in 2017. The experience is something that has stayed with him.
She was still able to vocalise just how much pain she was in. She was still begging us to do what we could to make it stop. It's so hard when someone's done everything for you throughout their life. And the one thing that they want more than anything else is the one thing that you're just completely not allowed to do.
Dave thinks his mum should have been allowed to die on her own terms. It's a debate that's been had across the country, including an amendment to the Health and Social Care Bill, which would force the government to introduce assisted dying legislation, something that Dave thinks is vital.
It just feels unfair that my mum had to go through so much in her life, but she was such a good person, and that was the end for her.
But others don't agree.
To me, assisted dying is simply a euphemism for suicide.
Dr. Kevin Yule says his grandma struggled at the end of her life, but he would have never chosen the path of assisted dying.
If you said, I want to kill yourself, and I told you the way to do it and encouraged you, I think that would be wrong. And I don't think it's any more right, even at the end of life when somebody is desperate. In most situations, as hospice workers will tell you, you can alleviate the pain or the immediate distress that the person has.
Palliative care just wasn't enough. The end point is fixed. It's just about how you get to that point. Does it go through a really painful process to get there? Or is it as dignified and fair and peaceful as it possibly can be?
What this would mean for dying people is that they know they've got the option of hastening an unbearable death. People, often they're not worried about dying, they're worried about how they're going to exit this life, the process that they will actually leave by.
For Dave, the focus is on other families like his who may be put in the same position.
I don't want, families to suffer like this as well, where people are put in situations where they feel we're not doing everything possible to help a loved one at the end of her life.
The amendment to the Health and Social Care Bill proposed by Lord Forsyth has little chance of becoming law, but it ensures the long-running debate about end-of-life care continues. Tasha Kachuri, ITV News, Liverpool.
Yes, we said a divisive subject, but an important subject to talk about nonetheless. Now, some good news dominating today's headlines. Here's Mary with what's coming up on the ITV News at 6:30.
Free at last and on her way home, Nazanin Zaghari-Ratcliffe flies back to the UK after being detained in Iran for 6 years. President Zelensky invokes 9/11 in a direct plea to US Congress for a no-fly zone over Ukraine's airspace. An uncertain future for the babies born through surrogacy into a war zone. And 25 years since making it big, how Michael Flatley is fundraising for Ukraine. Do join me for those stories and more at 6:30.
We're going to cheer ourselves up now with news of a new film about one of the most amazing but unlikely stories from the world of golf.
It's based on the true story of Maurice Flitcroft. He was a crane operator from Barrow-in-Furness. He managed to trick his way into golf's top tournament, the Open Championship.
Not surprisingly, he didn't do very well, but in the film The Phantom of the Open, he's definitely a winner.
Maurice's proud son James told Claire Hannah about his story.
It was destiny.
Sorry!
Flippin' heck.
They say the truth is often stranger than fiction, and this really is unbelievable.
And he's done it. It just goes to show if you put your mind to it, you can achieve anything you want to.
After watching the 1974 Golf World Championship on telly, Maurice Flitcroft decided to have a go. 2 years later, he pretended he was a professional and conned his way into the Open, where he played alongside an up-and-coming golfer named Seve Ballesteros.
Don't adjust the television, this is actually happening.
Maurice scored the worst ever score at the Open. Then he went on to enter more tournaments under comedy pseudonyms and became a bit of a celeb. His son James, who's now 59, has told us what he makes of his dad up on the big screen.
Wonderful, actually. I've been to see it a couple of times and it's fab. It's really good. It's a bit of an honour. It's a lovely film.
What was it like for you growing up?
Well, it was all right because, like I've told other people, we get the paper on Saturday. It says Open 121 shots, Maurice Flitcroft plastered over the front page of the national newspapers. So we were dreading going to school Monday, but it only lasted a few days. Then it was all over.
Because you caddied for your dad, didn't you?
Well, I only did it once. I didn't have the nerve to do it myself. I was a little bit shy of a Father of Tea, so I used to let my twin do that.
Is it a fair representation of your dad?
It's fair. It's a very fair representation. Someone who wouldn't give up, that type of person. And I think he did it through all his life with things, no matter what he took up. It was the same sort of determination and spirit that he infused in us as well to do things.
Finally, what do you think your dad would think of the film?
Marvellous. He'd absolutely love it.
The Phantom of the Open is on general release this Friday, and golf fan or not, it's definitely one to watch. Claire Hannah, ITV News.
Totally brilliant. He putted like I do, actually.
I was going to say, you're a bit of a golfer.
Yeah, like that. Not good.
Here is Joe with all the details on the weather.
That sunshine really made your eyeshadow pop, And you put the white in the bin, not the toilet.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Go ahead, Queen.
Thank you. A very good evening to you. Things are warming up generally over the next few days. Some good weather to look forward to. Perking up in terms of sunshine as well as we go through the week. But a frost to come tonight, and after a fine start tomorrow, cloud will build. There's a few showers in store for us. In general, though, drier conditions as we go through this week. And as you can see, the blues on the temperature chart being replaced by orange. And that's not Saharan dust, if you were wondering. No, that's some slightly warmer air moving in for our part of the world, which will peak probably Friday, Saturday. A little bit cooler again on Sunday, however it stays dry with some really nice sunshine to look forward to for our part of the world. Now this evening, rain clearing away, some moisture on the roads and with temperatures tonight falling to around -1, perhaps a few icy stretches. 1 or 2 shallow pockets of mist and fog, dry conditions tonight across the board, a gentle breeze and a frosty start to the day tomorrow. On to tomorrow, first of all the sun times, it will be rising tomorrow morning at 6:22, setting at 6:18 tomorrow evening. Tomorrow it is likely to be quite frosty where you are to start the day. Beautiful sunshine though, and winds beginning to pick up through the day. By lunchtime along the coast it's increasing, very gusty during the afternoon, and cloud builds from the west as we go through the day. 1 or 2 showers pushing through, certainly a cloudier end to the day, and temperatures tomorrow will get to around 12, maybe 13 Celsius. Temperatures though, they're on the up as we go through the next few days or so. After a windy day tomorrow, those winds easing down for Friday. And just look at that, for Friday, Saturday and Sunday, some lovely sunshine to look forward to. 15 or 16 degrees on Saturday and maybe a touch of frost to come by night. Bye-bye.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Those eyebrows are unreal.
Thanks, Joe. Finally, you're going to love this. Talking of sunshine, the man who's brightened up the day for everyone. That was all happening at a Liverpool bus stop in Great Homer Street, and he's dancing like no one's watching, not knowing he was being filmed. Not surprisingly, these pictures have gone viral.
Well, we were intrigued and managed to track down Orlando Torelli. He said it was cold at the bus stop and he wanted to spread positivity, happiness and joy, which is absolutely what he did.
I love it. Let's all do it. Any more magic moments like that, please will you share them with us at Granada Reports?
Yeah, we would absolutely love to see them.
Yeah, lots of you are loving that video already. Sue Connolly says, I don't know him, but he's definitely bringing a smile to my face. If only we could all be like him.
Yeah, this one from Craig Dobbin. He says, well done to Orlando, the bus stop dancer. You've done so much for positivity in Liverpool and beyond.
Yeah, look at him go. Hayley Taylor, who filmed this video, says, this guy goes to my gym. It was a delight to see him, without a care in the world, being free and completely enjoying life.
You know, he is absolutely inspirational, and you know what? I bet he has inspired so many people this evening. It's so good to see things like that.
Get out there dancing at the bus stop. We should all be doing it. Try it.
Yeah. You a bit of a dancer, your good self?
Well, not in that league. Orlando's absolutely superb.
We
Trained
need to get him in the studio
definitely.
at some point to show us some moves.
Yes, please.
Maybe not tonight.
Thanks for watching.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.